that the cutoff, is 50?
It's right on the
Sounds rather young.
attaches to the
Yeah.
roof.
Going to the
Is
senior.
that house
Yeah.
actually on the
It ought to be
community
adjusted, I think, to 55, you know. I mean, I'm not too proud.
I qualify if that's the case.
Well, AARP, they start sending it to you
Yeah.
for 45.
I had it listed
Yeah.
and then fire came in and everything for it.
Yeah, that was my proudest moment. When I hit 50, I went straight to the senior center and got me a membership. I said, yes.
Good evening, folks. We'll call this, the Maumelle Planning Commission for the regular meeting of September 28th, 2023 to order. Mr. Grimmer, we have any announcements? Mr. Lyon? Sir?
No announcements, sir.
Very good. We'll take the approval of the minutes of August 24, 2023, of which I wasn't there, but I did notice I was there in spirit.
I was gonna
If anybody
point that out.
noticed, under new business, I was Chairman Johnson, but I believe that would be acting Chair Winnick, perhaps.
Vice chair.
Vice Chair.
With that
Acting
correction,
chair.
I move approval.
Very good.
Second.
Very good. So a motion and for approval of the August 24 minutes. All those in favor say yes?
Yes.
All those opposed, no. We'll open, any public comments on non-agenda items? A little thin crowd, a lot of agenda tonight. Okay, seeing none, we will open the public hearing. There is no old business. Our first item of new business this evening is the Fontainebleau Center Development Plan Modification request, which is a request for the second extension for the development plan, a second extension for the development plan, request for modification to allow a phased development. Mr. Grummer.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Jason, we are recording, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, this is the second request for an extension as well as a request for modification. This project was approved by the Planning Commission in September of 2021, and they applied for their first extension the year after. Now they're applying for the second one because they have an interested buyer, PTI, who's currently located here in Maumelle, and they're trying to expand. And this project fits their need, but based on the current economy, they're requesting the development plan to be put into two phases instead of one, citing, again, challenges with the economy for commercial construction, and then requirements by banks' unwillingness to loan on unleased space, and then their immediate need to expand. So that's the extent of comments. Planning Commission, I'm sorry, staff recommends approval of this. This would not go to the City Council, would stay here at Planning Commission, and staff's additional comments. You'll notice on the third page of the staff report, staff recommends gravel road around the construction site for emergency vehicle access around the back side of the building. And then under the landscape plan, staff recommends all landscaping be placed with build out of phase one, and then any changes to be approved by staff or Planning Commission, depending on the extent of it. And then, again, on the commercial building design, any changes in elevations would need to be approved by staff or Planning Commission, depending on the extent of that change.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Grimmer. I do have a question. On a change of ownership that we have here, does that not require a resubmission on the?
So, not that I'm aware of. So the PRDs, they follow the changes in ownership. There's nothing in the code that I'm aware of that states that you have to go back through for a new approval, but the new owner would be bound by the approved development plan.
So this is still considered the second submission, even though we have no new ownership? Okay, thank
Well,
you.
actually, there's no new ownership yet, so they haven't, it's under contract. So they're looking for the entitlement to make sure that they can do the construction build out in phases versus one single phase.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we had a lot of discussion about that at subcommittee.
Yeah, I wasn't able to attend. Thank you. Yeah, I should have.
So,
Very good.
Now, the gravel road that staff recommends, it would have to be something approved by the Maumelle Fire Marshal.
Correct. Yes, sir.
also, I do have one question in here.
No, sir. So you'll notice, what we did was we provided the original staff report that was given so that you'd see what was actually approved on the development plan originally. And then anything that is in bold in that staff report is what's added. So those waivers were originally approved. You don't have to reapprove them.
Well, what confused me was, because it said, but expired along with the plan.
Well, would expire along with the plan, but if you grant the extension,
extension.
then it stays with the existing plan.
Okay.
Any
So
other,
this kind of piggybacks and.
Correct.
any other questions, comments? I'll entertain a motion if there are none.
I'll make the motion to approve as presented.
Mr. Grimmer, is this, I see a 1 and a 2 here.
Yes, sir. These are
Do they
two.
need to be held, would we need a motion for each item, each sub-item?
I would do them
So
separately.
if
yes,
you
sir.
would, Tracy, motion it with,
Item number 1.
yes.
Second?
So we have a motion, a second for the extension request of the preliminary development plan on Fontainebleau Center Development Plan modification request. All those in favor of the extension notify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. Now, I will entertain a motion on sub-item 2.
I'll make that motion to approve item number 2 as presented.
Thank you, Tracy. So here, a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Hearing a motion and a first and a second, we will now vote for the modification request on the preliminary development plan for Fontainebleau Center Development Plan modification request. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries and is approved. We are now on to new business, item 2, for the code amendment of the preliminary plat approval, which has the applicant representative as Mr. Lyon. So I assume you're going to take this item, Mr. Lyon?
So this item is a code amendment for, and it focuses on the preliminary plat extension request. To be honest, we've been doing this in air as far as anything that's not a PUD. So let's say the Burkhalter Business Park that we extended, allowed the extension last month. So what this code amendment does is basically it is codifying what we have been doing. And this is needed more just so we can track our plats better. And it also puts the developers on a timeline, knowing that if they're gonna get a preliminary plat, they need to make sure they're starting on their infrastructure work and get a preliminary plat final approval. And of course, for commercial or industrial is then get the final plat approved so they can start construction. Or if it's a preliminary plat, let's say for an R1, R2, they can start on their civil plans and infrastructure for the subdivision build out. So what this does, it is taking the language from 94-450 that we used in the previous one for Fontainebleau, and it codifies it into section 7073, but it now pertains to any subdivision or preliminary plat that is not a PRD or PCD. But it puts the same constraints on up to 2 12-month extensions granted by the Planning Commission. But we are asking that they do show cause, could be economics or something. And then if they need a third extension, just like in a PUD or PUD, PRD, PCD, it requires it to go to City Council for a third approval if need be.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Lyon. Questions, comments from commissioners? Rather straightforward. A little cleanup work.
Chairman, I make the motion.
It's recommendation, council.
Recommend this council, the adoption of the proposed code amendment, section 7073.
Thank you. To hear a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. So here in first and second, we will now vote for the code amendment for the preliminary plat approval with our applicant being the City of Maumelle for the proposed code amendment on section 70-73. All those in favor of the code amendment change signify by saying yes.
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 All those opposed, no. Seeing none, the action is recommended onto council. We'll close the public hearing and enter into the city council liaison reports, which September 5th was Commissioner Ray. He is not here. Commissioner Smith, you had September 18th.
I did, and there was only one, and now I can't find my note here. I do know. Second reading of ordinance 1097, amending the notification procedure was basically, for planning and permit applications.
Very good.
That was the only item of business pertaining to us.
Very good, thank you. So the next month, council liaison reports are October 2, Commissioner Fisher, and October 16th is Vice Chair Winnick. Any other business for discussion this evening?
If I may, I would like to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Chairman?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm out of line, but I think Mary may be out.
Yeah, I
So
don't
I
know
don't
the
know if-
status of that. I'll contact, I guess we'll tap Mr. Grummer for that, and if, I don't know of any, I don't know the extent of that. If that's the case, we'll get a substitute in due time.
That's fine.
I don't know, I'm not I would be speaking out
I
of turn
think
because I
she
do
said
not
at the
know.
committee meeting, if I remember, that she was gonna be out for a couple months.
I see.
I
Well,
think
if that's
you're
the
right.
case,
You
then
can
we'll take her out of
confirm that.
rotation.
I don't wanna talk out of turn.
No, that's a good, I mean, we'll look at that and I'll verify to make sure, and we'll let you know.
Thank you. Any other business before us?
If I may, just want to make one comment. This is more for, I guess, any developers listening. With November coming up, the deadline for November is actually going to be on the Planning Commission date for October for submission deadline, since we have a shortened month. So we'll be going straight from a Planning Commission in October to the very next week. It will be a subcommittee for November. So everything's moved up 1 week for Thanksgiving.
Would you go ahead and send us those dates out, Mr. Lyon?
We'll do.
Make those, get those changes on our calendar.
Same go for December.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you look at December.
No, I believe, December is normal.
Okay.
Not a problem.
No, it's not a problem, but, this was the schedule that was approved at the first of the year, so we'll send it out as a reminder.
It might be on my calendar, correct? I doubt it though, because it's.
I had to change mine.
Yeah, we get a little lazy with it, don't we? Very good. Seeing other business, I will entertain a motion of adjournment.
So moved.
As second for adjournment.
Second?
Hearing first and second, all those in favor, yes?
Yes.
All those no. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Has it? It looks like it.